Sultan Kudarat State University welcomes you in its Educational Learning Resource Center. Our library is open from Monday to Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and as the need arises, it is open until 6 p.m. During Saturday, it is open from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. with noon break. Our resources: we have books, general references, general collection, Filipiniana, fiction, biography, graduate school collection, theses and dissertations, government publications, periodicals, vertical files, and internet resources. Our services: we have reference services, library tours, library orientation and instruction, reserved services, circulation services, new acquisition displays, photocopying services, technical services, acquisition services, indexing services, current awareness services, information services, bibliographic services, and internet searching. For our general rules: all students, visitors, and outside users entering the library are required to log in and out. Idle conversations, laughter, and unnecessary noise will disturb other library clienteles. Therefore, this should be avoided. Talking, if necessary, should be done in subdued tones. Eating, smoking, and sleeping are not allowed inside the library. Keep things in order. Push your chairs forward before leaving. Keep the library clean. Do not litter waste, wrappers, and crumpled papers. Books and other library materials, except the general references, such as encyclopedias, dictionaries, atlases, and etc. Periodicals and serials, for example, the newspapers, magazines, and journals, should be returned to their proper places. The use of library cards. A properly validated library ID should be presented to the circulation librarian when borrowing books, magazines, and vertical files. The library ID card should be presented to the librarian or library student assistant before any general references or reserved materials could be borrowed for photocopying purposes. When returning library references, be sure to get back your library ID card. The library does not assume any responsibility for exchange or loss of ID after you had left the library. Library ID card is used in borrowing books. This card is non-transferable. For our control procedures, all personal belongings should be left on the depository shelf or counter before entering the library. However, valuables like wallets, cell phones, and etc. should not be left behind. Upon leaving the library, everyone is required to present their bags and submit all materials borrowed for inspection purposes to the security counter officer. Clearance requirement. Library users with accountabilities from the library will not be cleared unless he had settled them by returning all borrowed materials, paying accumulated book fines, replacing lost book if there is any. Our rules on circulation. For general collection, fiction, biography except Filipiniana, college students may borrow books for 2 days and may renew for another 2 days except for titles with limited copies. High school students may borrow books for 2 days and may renew for another 2 days except for titles with limited copies. DIT and IGS students may borrow books for 1 week every Saturday and may renew for another 1 week every Saturday except for titles with limited copies. Filipiniana collections may be borrowed for 2 days. For the reserved books, Reserved books are issued for 1 hour at a time, to be used within the library only. Extension for additional hour is granted unless there is prior demand by the user. Reserved books are not for loan out. They are intended for library use and photocopying purposes only. The following types of materials are to be read only inside the library. They are not circulated for home use. General references, examples, encyclopedias, almanacs, dictionaries, atlases, and etc. The reserved books in the Filipiniana section: periodicals, vertical file materials, theses and dissertations. Please be reminded that thesis and dissertations reproduction are not allowed without written consent from the author. Maximum number of books that may be borrowed. Students may borrow 3 books at a time for a period of 2 days for college students, 2 days for laboratory high school students, and 1 week for DIT and IGS students, except for titles with limited copies. College and high school students may borrow books for home use to be returned on or before 9 a.m. the following day. Fines and other penalties. Borrowed materials must be returned on the due date. For overdue books, the following fines are to be imposed. For the Filipiniana books, 2 pesos for first hour plus 1 peso per hour for the second and succeeding hours. For general circulation, stacked books, fiction, and biography, 1 peso per day for college, DIT, IGS, and high school students. The laboratory high school collections, 1 peso per day for high school students. For Institute of Graduate Studies collections, 10 pesos per week every Saturday for IGS and DIT students. The following penalties are imposed on delinquent borrowers. First offense, fine and suspension of borrowing privileges for 1 week. Second offense, fine and suspension of borrowing privileges for 1 month. And third and final offense, fine and suspension of borrowing privileges for the rest of the semester. For the lost books. When a book is lost, the borrower should report it immediately to the librarian. The borrower is obliged to pay the overdue fine incurred until the day the loss is reported, in addition to replacement cost of the book. Replacement of exact title is preferred. For assistance, please refer to the following personnels of Sultan Kudarat State University Educational Learning Resource Center. Rose Viña, Australian Tutor, Registered Librarian, the Director of Library and Museum Services, Campus Librarian, Access Campus. Minobi Grace D. Valente, Registered Librarian, Assistant Campus Librarian, Main Library, Access Campus. Jubilee O. Paslot, Assistant Campus Librarian, Main Library, Access Campus. Ruel S. Gutanggogan, Registered Librarian, Assistant Campus Librarian, Main Library, Access Campus. Glory Jean P. Eman, Registered Librarian, Campus Librarian, Tacloban Campus, Tacloban City. Claire Therese G. Amular, Registered Librarian, Campus Librarian, Tacloban Campus, Tacloban City. Melody Faith I. Contreras, Registered Librarian, Assistant Campus Librarian, Tacloban Campus, Tacloban City. Rachel A. Velasco, Registered Librarian, Campus Librarian, Isulan Campus, Isulan, Sultan, Kudarat.